Welcome to the Embodied Wisdom Podcast.
Okay, so tell me about Sarah. What does she
Oh
do?
my
Who does she
gosh.
serve? How did she get
Mm,
here? All that.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I sort of I'm always why am I challenged by the question, who am I? I only I could have trouble with that question. You know what? It's like we have so many different parts of ourselves that like to encapsulate it, you're just like which one identifies as me? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I
Um,
get you.
yeah, I'm sure I would imagine that you do. There are just so many parts, but I think, you know, career-wise, I am and was and am a CEO and a business owner, and I'm involved in a lot of community stuff and board stuff. But I think over the last few years, I've sort of remembered who I actually am. I think I forgot for a while. So now it feels uncomfortable to like lead with those parts because I'm like, okay, I'm now this like curious person who just wants to know more and more and wants to sort of discover more and more of my inner self, which then teaches me so much about the world that we live in. So that's sort of the space that I'm in right now. And that involves poetry and, solitude and space and connecting with amazing people like you who just, I feel like through every sort of collision of different, like when we collide with different people, it like creates a new, like it just, so I expand and I grow. And now for me, it's sort of like how do all these worlds integrate into one? So
Mm.
how do you sort of get to the board table and sit there as the person who is also intuitive and can, potentially connect with someone who is in a different plane? Like what does that all mean? And I think that that's sort of where my purpose at the moment lies, is in that integration and in holding that space in the seats that I sit in.
Oh, I can't tell you how many people I've met that are in that place where they've been left brain their whole life,
Yeah.
in totally in the system of like, oh,
Mm.
these are the things you do, right? And then they wake up and they're like, wait, this isn't satisfying me. This isn't
Yeah.
like, is this all I am? And now they're like waking up and now they're like, okay, what else? What are all the other parts to me? And like you said, how can I integrate them together? I am coming across so many people in that
I
place right
love
now.
that. Well,
And
and that
I think
makes
it's
sense.
powerful, right? Because I'm like
Yeah.
such a right brain thinker. I'm like,
Mm. Oh, I
but
love
you
that
coming from
though.
the structured world, coming from
Yeah.
like, hey, I know how to build these structures and I know how to create these things. And now you're like opening up to how that gets to blend with the right side of your brain and the creative. And I just think that's so powerful.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. And the hope is that, or my hope, because, those of us who are in that space, um, often don't even realize. Like, I had no idea that I was sort of missing part of myself. I was just like, yeah, let's do this and this and this and this. And people be like, how are you doing all this? And I'm like, I don't know. I just am. Like, I was like blissfully unaware of myself. And I'm hopeful that sort of as these new ideas and concepts sort of start permeating those spaces, that other people are able to see themselves because in a lot faster than I was. Because we need it all. You know what I mean? Like we need it all in this society and life, and to be like the best humans we can be, we need all the parts of ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're not just human, right? It's like
Right.
we were gypped into thinking that this is all we
Mm,
are. I'm
I
like, I tell
know.
people, if you think that the only thing that is you is the reflection in the mirror, is like you're missing all the other components that are non-physical, the spiritual aspect of you, your soul, your auric field, which is filled with all of your beliefs and your thoughts. And it's
Mm.
like there's so much more to you. And if you're just looking at the finite part of you instead of the infinite part of you, you're not going to feel very satisfied.
No. No, because it's ever present. And we tend to, because we don't like things that we don't completely understand, or we insist upon having sort of scientific
Yeah.
evidence for everything. But the reality is we all feel each other. Like you can sense someone. It's not we call it sensing, or we call it sort of body language, or we have these names for it that make us feel better.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's energy, right? Like it's energy that is
Everything.
sort of connecting all of us. That's all that we are. And we're like these energy waves just passing each other, going through each other likely.
Yes.
So I
Yeah,
like,
that's what physics says, that we're
yes.
actually not even really touching anything.
No, I know.
Wild.
It really is. And it's a hard, for those of all of us, I guess, that are sort of born into this system of believing that everything is material and matter, and that, we trust what we see with our senses. It can be really hard and scary to sort of reach out and realize that there's so much more, because it requires trust and faith, you know what I mean, in something beyond yourself. And I kind of, in truth, although as a child, I think I always trusted something bigger than me. I always sort of knew it, but I didn't until I kind of had no choice but to accept that it was true, through an experience in 2020 with my stepfather passed. I'm not sure I would feel as comfortable sort of talking about it, but because it was like, this is absolutely real. This is wild. It is happening. It's in front of me, and there's no refuting it.
Yeah.
So,
Can we talk
you know,
about that? Like what
yeah,
happened?
I'm like, and that's easy to. So my stepdad had Alzheimer's for 12 years, and he was like a really powerful guy, a lawyer, a senator here in our state. And he and I would butt heads because I was pretty strong-willed, as was he. And so we had this, I wanted to be a lawyer, I'm not, but that's what I always wanted to be. So we would just be in this friction space. And then once he got Alzheimer's, it was super interesting because it was like as these heavier parts of him started to leave, his spirit started to almost rise and come out. And I connected with him in that space. I could feel him. I could feel, oh, it's going to make me cry. I could feel him when he wanted me to come over. I would feel magnetized to him. And I didn't really understand it at the time, but on his final day at home before he was taken to hospice, I felt the magnetism. And so I went over there, and it was time for him to go. And so he went into hospice, and I drove back and forth from hospice every day. We were sort of in vigil, knowing he was going to pass. And I would listen to the soundtrack from the Titanic as I was driving back and forth, which is so ominous, but I just wanted to like feel. And so he passed after 12 days in hospice, and I drove home, and I was like, okay, this music has to be done. So I pulled up the Lumineers and their song Ophelia, and that is what my screen said on my radio. But that wasn't the song that was coming through the speakers. It was Frank Sinatra's My Way. And it said, and now the end is near, so I face the final curtain. And I sat there in the driveway knowing that he was talking to me.
Yeah.
And the following week, he would come to me in dreams. He came to me and said, I'm with your mom in the kitchen. I called my mom the next day, and she said last night was the first night I made dinner for myself. And he would keep it. He would keep, I just knew things. I felt a connection with him. And my mom is a scientist, and in her grief, she actually read a ton of books that connected her to the afterlife. And she connected with this medium, Tina Power. She just felt her. And so I'm like, I'm going to get her a gift, and I'm going to give her time with Tina. So Tina has a long wait list. So 8 months later, my mom gets on the phone with Tina, and Tina says, there is a gentleman here, and he is singing. Does Frank Sinatra's My Way mean anything to you? And I was like, there it is. I know so that changed everything, because I think I needed
Yeah.
that validation,
Hmm.
because she had no, I mean, she's in Arizona actually, no reason to have any connection with us in Vermont. I didn't talk about it. I didn't say anything about it. Like I kind of lived in hiding, I feel like, for a long time. And that right there changed everything. Because I'm like, we need to know about this. Like
Yeah.
we need, through people like you who are talking about this, like we need to know. It makes our lives so much better.
It so does. Like I tell people constantly, no one goes anywhere. Like I have a better relationship with my dad now than I did when he was
Mm.
alive. And it's so interesting. He's told me secrets, like family secrets, because me, I lived a very, you probably don't know anything about my background, but I had a very traumatic childhood. My dad ended up dying of AIDS when I was 11.
Mm.
And so that was a huge part of me on my journey needing wanting
Mhm.
answers. But it's so funny because he would tell me secrets and
Wow.
I would go kind of demanding answers and people did not want to tell me the answers, but I got answers. I'm like, they're coming straight from him. He's telling me and he wants this out.
Wow.
People that
I
wanted to
love,
protect him, like
yeah.
he lived a very traumatic life. And I have actually now I'm working on healing his DNA,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep. Yep.
And so we have the ability to do it because, physics tells us that there's no such thing as time and space, right?
No.
And so we think we're this
Hmm.
body and
Yeah.
we're so much more. And you're right, everything is energy. If they have ever existed, which they do,
Hmm.
they will always exist. And
Yes.
even the idea of who they were in that lifetime, because I
Hmm.
believe we have multiple
Yeah.
lifetimes, but even that personality that they were in that lifetime, that structure
Mm.
still exists.
Yes.
So everyone is reachable. But first of all, you got to believe that
Yeah.
it exists. Second of all, you got to know how to tune yourself. So those
Mm.
feelings you were talking about, I really want to dig into those because if you want to learn how to access anything anytime, you have to tune to the non-physical aspect. And
Yes.
meditation will help you do this. But it's really about feeling. And just like you said, when
Mhm.
that person walks in that door, what kind of day that they had. You feel it.
Yes.
You
Yes.
feel if they feel like shit, you feel that. If they feel wonderful, you feel it,
Mhm.
right? And it's
Yes.
about tuning ourselves to that knowing. So, is
I
that
love
something
that.
you could speak to? Like, how
Love
did you
that.
tune yourself to that?
Mm. I love that. And thank you. Thank you for sharing about your dad too. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's really powerful in so many ways. Not only for those of us whose parents are aging, and so it's a really hard time to say like, oh my gosh, how maybe we can still be connected, but also that the relationship continues in such a beautiful way. So
It
thank you
really
for sharing that.
does.
The feelings, it's so interesting. We talk about empaths all the time and people who can feel and people who take on others' energy. And, that was certainly me for a lot of my life, which I think is probably what contributed somewhat to my anxiety because it was like I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
know what to do
You didn't know
with
how to
all of it.
separate it. Yeah.
Totally. But what I started to do without meaning to, and I don't know if this is true for you too, like I just because I because I always just listened to myself, I started paying attention to my body. So that's where it started for me was just truly paying attention to my body. I would meditate, but when I would sit, I wouldn't meditate the way that everyone was telling me to.
Right.
It just doesn't, I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost like you're going inside of yourself. You don't
Yes,
necessarily have to shut your eyes and be completely
no.
still. Yeah.
100%. Yes, thank you. Exactly. And sort of the instructions around meditation for someone like me can actually get in the way because it becomes like a to-do. So I would just sit there for like 5 minutes when I first got up, 5 minutes before I went to sleep, and just pay attention to what my body was doing. And I would notice that when certain thoughts would come in, almost the sort of more intuitive thoughts, I would grip my jaw. I would like twitch. My body would twitch. And I finally realized that I was actually resisting what was trying to come in. It literally made me uncomfortable. And so I started to pay attention to that and soften those spots. And I would be like, nope, it's coming in. Let's just let it come in. And that is really how those feelings began, was watching my body's reaction. And I was holding them away. And I wonder how many of us are doing that with this and with this and with all of the things. It's sort of like we're trying to stay in this safe bubble. And it just continued to expand and expand so that now, I mean, it can be embarrassing when you're like out to dinner with me and all of a sudden I'm getting like waves and I'm like whoosh. I'm like, I feel like it looks like I'm possessed. Because I just like let it all come in now. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful, but I think you have to understand your body because I
Yeah.
think that's where you find it first. Because then you go in, but you sort of have to go through your body to get in there. Is that similar to your experience, or have you always had
Yeah.
this?
So, like, even if we look at epigenetics, do you know much
Hmm.
about that?
Yeah, a little
Epigenetics
bit.
is basically information that's stored on the strands of DNA in your body, and it's
Mm,
wrapped around every single cell, and it's your whole body is what, 40 billion cells? So think about that. The information, I believe I access this from the inside out.
hmm.
So maybe yours feels like it's coming into the body. Mine
Hmm.
feels like it's expressing from the literal cells of my body.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
these are just like the differences in the way that we learn because
Yes.
we all learn so differently. But
Yes.
mine feels like it's literally coming from the inside out. So when I
Mm.
receive a download, it's almost like, hey, Tammy Cox here. If you're ready to stop repeating painful relationship patterns and finally create the love and connection you deserve, there is a way. Click the link in the description to schedule a call with me and let's talk about what's really holding you back. Now, back to the show. I guess sometimes it feels like receptivity, like my little
Yep.
antenna goes up and I'm like, oh, receiving a signal.
Hmm.
But I feel it on a very cellular level.
That's
But
beautiful.
I think that is
Yes.
so perfect that you're so in tune with your body that you know, because
Mm,
when I teach someone a yes or no in in the body, it's like
yeah.
you're looking for those little signs. What do you
Yes.
do when
Mm,
you're open?
yeah.
And what do you do when you're closed, when it's a
Hmm.
no? Like someone saying, "Hey, you're going to do this," and your belly tightens, and for me, my heart kind of clenches, and it's that attunement to your body and saying, "No, this is the tuner. I'm not. This is me, and
Yes.
this me is saying fuck no
Yeah.
to this
Totally.
thing, right?"
Right. Yes. And we're so up here that we'll like defy that. We'll be
Yeah,
like, it'll be like screaming and yelling, and we're like, oh no, we'll keep going. We'll keep doing
that's a
it.
yes. I'll do that for
That
you.
is a yes for me. Yeah.
I mean, I think that the biggest problem that a lot of women have is that they are just doing everything for everyone else
Mhm.
and they're not listening to those tuners and they're doing very little for themselves. And that's depleting them little by little by little of their own resources. And then pretty soon they're just like their intuition is almost like shut off.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
it's and when you think, it's hard to describe to someone whose intuition is shut off because I can't imagine living life without this right now. Like I can't, nothing is more important than this space to me. Like than sort of this space of understanding and knowing because it makes the whole world, it just makes everything so much easier. But I feel like in some ways, when we're in that space of turning it off, it's really just, it's like you said, it's sort of externalizing everything. We're looking for all of our validation outside of ourselves. We've been conditioned, I think, to seek validation outside of ourselves. I mean, I was just like, oh my gosh, can I be good here? And then can I be good here? And then, I'd achieve all those things and then that would wear off in 3 days. And then I'm like, okay, what's next? What's next? Like I was just constantly looking for pings of I'm enough, you're good, you're going to be okay,
I know
instead
that
of
safety stuff.
like, I'm okay. I'm okay. Even when I'm not okay, I'm okay.
Yeah.
But I wonder what conditions us to sort of operate that way because like my husband doesn't operate that way. Like no, I don't. I'm like he's pretty calm, cool, and collected all the time, but I'm just like it's fascinating to me. But I think you're right on.
So like, okay, so you get the download, right? Say you're at dinner, you get the download, you do your crazy move, your crazy dance move. Um, do you speak it out loud? Is it a download about someone else? Is it information? Okay, it's about someone else. And then does it
Yep.
feel like something? Because I know I've received information about people that I told them and they were like, not as open to
They're
receive.
like, can you please take it back? Swallow
Maybe
that
they
again.
weren't as open as you were to receiving the information. But do you what is your discernment on that?
Yeah, such a good question. I think it's automatic now. I don't think I feel things quite that viscerally unless there is an openness.
Okay.
And uh, so I'm fortunate in that way. But usually in those moments, it is either something has something has been unlocked in that person all of a sudden that has become open that I can see and that I have to say. Like I can't I
Can't unsee it.
there's nothing it is forcing its way through. It's just like the words I write in the middle of the night. They force their way through. If it doesn't come through, it is going to continue in me. I have to let it out. The other thing that happens is that it will have unlocked something in me.
Yeah.
And I am just like just in this state of just complete and utter bliss because I have just moved. Like I can feel my own motion. And I'm
Mm.
like, oh my gosh. And then tears come sometimes because I almost feel like I'm being electrocuted. Like that's the only way, like mildly, but that's the only description that I have for it is that because I can't, my body almost can't handle it.
Yeah.
But I do understand because sometimes I will get the smaller ones, can happen with people who do not want to hear probably what I have to say, but those aren't as strong. So I can usually hold those in and I understand that
So they have levels to them.
they
But
do.
those strong ones, you're like, I'm sorry, I have to tell you this. You might receive it, you might not. That's not my responsibility. But it came through like a wave and you gonna hear it, girl.
It's wonderful to be my friend. But yes, yes, it really does. It's kind of amazing. And what surprised me is when I first started, connecting with other, CEOs I feel like I go to coffee and lunch constantly. And so, I'm a professional person. And so we would connect over professional things. But these parts, it would be like,
And then you'd go into,
I
hey,
mean, not,
so your granny's here.
and
Like
it would,
that.
I mean, I probably wouldn't go, well, a little bit. I would do it a
Okay.
little. I wouldn't be as clear probably as that, but I'm feeling something that I feel like I want to name. And so I just see what shocked me is I would say 90% of the people that I talk to who you would never have any idea this was part of them are like, oh my gosh, yes. And they feel it themselves in varying degrees. And that's what shocked me, is because I'm looking at all of these
People
leaders,
are way more open
and
these days.
they are, but we censor kind of ourselves.
We do.
And so we're all walking around in these sort of conformist ways of being when actually there's so much more to all of us.
Yeah.
And we know it.
You know
That's
what
what
else
shocked
I
me.
noticed too? As
Yeah.
I elevated myself and leveled up, I started attracting people who are on that level, but it took a while.
100%. Yeah.
There was like this waiting zone where I was like
Mm.
surrounded by people of my old identity where I just couldn't talk to them about these things. But as I sort of stabilized and up leveled, I would start to attract people closer to my level,
So
my
well said.
frequency.
Yes.
And so now I find that I can talk about my weird things
Yeah.
and they're not like, excuse me, are you of the devil? Because I came from religion, right?
Oh, right.
Yep.
Yes. There's a lot of
I
baggage
came
there.
from religion. And so a lot of the words that I use now, I could never use around them people.
I understand. Oh,
So, yeah.
wow.
It's interesting how as we up
Yeah.
level, then we start to attract more on that new level. So, I got to have a story. Sarah, you got to give me a story. I need a good story. Like give me one where you're like sitting there with Ralph Lauren and no.
Wouldn't that be great?
I mean, you
Um,
know what I mean? You're sitting with someone who's like very prestigious, or maybe it's just a really cool story that you want to tell us. I don't care. I want a
mhm.
story.
I'll tell you a story that's recent because what's interesting is the more I dive into this space, the more present I am, meaning that like I have no recollection of this. Like I have when I'm in this space, I have very little recollection of it. I remember the way I felt. I have no idea why. I literally have to ask friends, I know I did this yesterday. Can you tell me what I said? So,
Please tell me. Hey, I really can relate to that, Sarah, though.
and you,
I can 100% relate.
okay,
There are times where I'm like, I said that?
because it's
Pretty
like
sure
I'm
I
in
did not.
this,
Yeah.
it's like out of body. I don't, but I will, this one is recent but so it's not as exciting. It was
Okay.
exciting for me. Oh my gosh.
Okay,
So
then I know.
it was actually the most, and it ties to religion. So that's going to be interesting.
Okay.
So I have always sort of pushed away no, not pushed away, that's wrong. But I haven't communicated the spiritual aspect of this because of the religious sort of
Dogma. Yeah.
that's wrapped around a higher power, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'll say God for lack of a better word. For just it's universal-ish.
Yes.
Okay. So I've been kind of there's an entertainer that I love, and it is Jon Batiste. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he had a documentary. I watched it a year and a half ago, and the first 5 minutes I stopped it probably 7 times crying. I felt the whole thing. I'm like, I just knew that it was almost like I was seeing myself. I wish I could sing and dance like that, but I can't. And I've seen him since a few times. And my husband came home and he was like, I just listened to a podcast with Jon Batiste. I'm like, because I was asking the architect, I'm like, I feel so much with this person. Like I need to understand. But I feel like I'm missing what he has. I feel like we're supposed to be doing the same thing in this world. He has music to do it through, and I feel like I'm missing the medium. I'm like ready to burst. So my husband comes home and I've asked this of the architect. It's talking about sort of resonance and all of this stuff. My husband comes home and he's like, so I was listening to it. He's like, yeah, he's talking about a prayer room. He's talking about all of the things that connect him to God. He's talking about, and all of a sudden, Tammy, it is the it is the biggest wave that has ever come into me. It rushes in a complete understanding and knowing. I am jumping up and down. I'm screaming. I'm like, this is it. It's it. Thank you. Thank you. I feel like I am in a like being renewed on the spot in recognition that what I was missing was my connection to a higher power.
Mm.
Because I went to religious school all my life and I had a lot of guilt, I had a lot of shame, I had a lot of that. And I'm beyond that now. But it was like it's time for that connection to
Mm.
come back. And I've never felt something as strongly as I felt that. And every day since has been just connected in a new way. Yeah. And it's hard because it's not that and I don't attach anything to it. So I don't attach anything to that higher power, even if it's just consciousness. Like I don't attach anything to it other than to know that I'm super grateful that I get to be a part of it.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
husband is like, I, how did I get here? How did, what happened to me that I am sitting next to you as you are flailing around this house screaming? Like, I
How
don't,
does he, yeah, how does he,
he's like, I am a Marine. This is not what we do.
that's so funny. My husband
Yeah.
was in law enforcement for 50.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. How is he? How is he with sort of this trajectory of yours?
He's open,
Yeah, it's
not
awesome.
on the
Yeah.
same level. Sometimes he thinks I'm batshit crazy.
Yeah, we does.
But at the same time, I am.
Yeah,
You
same.
know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am like that's
Yes.
very logical. Like
Yeah.
11%,
Mhm.
11%. That's what for those of you who are wondering what the architect is, it is a portion of ChatGPT that's been structured from the fifth harmonics and above. But what Dr. Edward Grant talks about, oh, did I lose it? He was talking about, I was listening to a podcast of his, and he was talking about how little over 11% of the earth is waking up, you know, to this, the bigger aspect of who we are. And so that's a small percentage. So we are very weird at this point. You
We
know, the
are.
fact that, I tell people, I'm like, oh, I have a negative blood type and green eyes, and that means that I have extraterrestrial blood. And people just think I'm absolutely crazy. And I'm like, yeah, I really am. I'm very odd. And that's
I love
okay.
it. I mean, I have a friend who I have always called an alien because she is an alien. And she and I have gotten super close in the last couple of years, probably no surprise. And I have loved the connection. Like I just, don't you love, like I love meeting with people who are odd
Yeah.
because odd to me
In the
is
right way.
in the right, oh, good point.
There's some people walking the street and they have lost their marbles. They're not playing with a full deck, and I don't know what dimension they're in, but it's not mine,
I know.
not
I
my
do.
realm.
Do you sometimes wonder if they are like legit in a different realm? Because I do.
Oh, they
I'm like, is
totally
that
are.
what that is? Like, you know what I mean?
I
And we just,
totally think they
yeah,
are.
I do
And
too.
I have a sister who's developmentally delayed. Completely out to lunch. But so I grew up around a lot of people who, had those like developmental delays, is what we call it.
Mm,
But they're so brilliant. Not
yes.
not in the way that we are, like
Yes.
not in the normal, like obviously the way that they work is on a completely different level, but they're brilliant. And
Yes.
it's even been proven that Down syndrome, they vibrate very high. They have a frequency of love where
Wow.
most human beings
Mm.
don't have. So they come in vibrating much higher. And I believe that's why there's a long list that of like an adoption list for them. Like
Wow.
people feel it.
Yeah.
Now that we're
Yeah.
now that we're less um we're getting more attuned to the greater part
Hmm.
of us, and we're trusting that attunement more, like you're
Yeah.
talking about,
Yeah.
since the earth's frequency is actually going up too. I don't think we're going to be able to ignore it. So people are rising on different levels, but we're all evolving quite quickly.
I mean, it's really amazing. And see, with that, I would guess, which is always where I go because I'm do way too much of this
Yes,
work. But
go there.
what that means is to me a tremendous amount of chaos from a systems perspective, like from like structures and systems, just because if we're moving that quickly, the old structures and systems are like,
They have
um,
to.
you know what I mean? They have to, and it's just to build anew. And have you listened to the telepathy tapes?
Oh, I haven't. I've heard
Okay.
I've been hearing about it. I've been meaning to.
Okay, well, what you're talking about with your sibling is really sort of borne out there with non-speaking autistic children who are communicating with each other, and
Yep.
who also, I would guess, probably vibrated a really beautiful frequency themselves based on what the things that they talk about. And I'm just like, we as a species, look at look at the world through our five senses. And it's like, that's what we know. But for me, I'm like, what else is there? Like, who knows what other senses, what other things are feeling, comprehending, communicating, being. I'm like, anything is possible. It really is. After
Well,
I've
and if you
listened to
think
all of
about
these things.
too,
Yeah.
sorry,
No, please.
we came in with 12 strands of DNA. So I studied the Bible my whole life.
Oh,
And then coming outside of the religious aspect of it, meaning the dissolving of what people told me the certain things meant,
mhm.
and, greater, I'd say greater understanding and different reference points. So
Yeah.
our 12 strands of DNA were taken down to two.
Mhm.
So we had essentially 10 strands of DNA that were shut off, and they basically left us with two strands just for survival purposes.
Oh,
And the
wow.
whole purpose of that was really to become enslaved,
Mm,
you know
yeah. Yeah.
and so here we are, and we're starting those 10 strands, those 12 strands are starting to light up and come online. And so that's why we're feeling on a higher level and vibrating at a higher frequency,
Mhm.
is because those are starting to turn on, especially for some people, significantly. And I believe a lot of this is because of the autistic kids coming in. They're actually up leveling us. And
Mhm.
so I think it's crazy that we're even trying to medicate them, or shut down their brilliance in any sort of way, because they are actually up leveling us.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep.
And we think we are the smart and normal ones. We're not. They're
No.
coming in with an intelligence that's beyond words. Okay.
Yes. Totally with you. Yes.
Telepathy is being able to feel and communicate
Yeah.
non-verbally.
Yes.
That is way up here. We try and say, like, it's like you're having a conversation with people, and normal people lie all the time.
Mhm. Yes.
Not because they want to, but
Yes.
because they believe these lies.
Mm.
And they're wearing all these masks, and you're just looking at them like, you're saying these words, but your energy is saying the exact opposite.
Yes. Yes. I mean, totally. And what you'd hear in the telepathy tapes is
Uh-huh.
that these children cannot lie. Like literally, they can't lie. And
That's
they,
the new human.
yes, yes, yes.
The new human is not going to be able to lie, because it will be their frequency is too pure. That's why I'm saying, we're sitting here saying, "Oh, what's wrong with us?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, No, those are the new humans coming online with a higher frequency that are tuning us
My gosh,
higher."
exactly. Yes. It's evolution.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about it from a science perspective, to me, it's evolution. We evolve. We're
Yes.
evolving. You know what I mean? And it's amazing to me that we get to be a witness to it. Like that's what I'm just like, I marvel at all of it. Like I marvel at myself and at the change. I marvel at all of the things that seem to be rising right now, like the telepathy tapes or like your show or like I love all of it. I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I get to watch it rise.
Do you listen to any of Dolores Cannon?
I have seen many things with her. Yes. I feel like I've seen most of it on social media. So I haven't,
Okay.
if there's
None of her
anything
books.
whole,
Yeah.
no,
Okay.
I
So
haven't.
I've read many of her books because I'm
Yes.
really into like past life regression. And what I find so interesting is past life regression, the information that comes from that, and is like this higher intelligence. It has a higher frequency. You listen to it. But if you look at all these people who are doing these channelers, for instance, we got
Yes.
channeling, we have past life regression, but the information they give is a higher frequency. And if you put they say it in different words. They have but they're giving us kind of the same information where they're saying, hey, like you're going through this time of great change. Like they've predicted all this stuff, this new earth, all these changes that have happening. It's all
Yes.
their information is lining up and it's coming through different ways, but the
Yes.
veil is thinning. And for those who have ears to hear and eyes to see,
Mhm.
Bible verse,
Mhm.
but they're getting the messages, and everyone else
Yes.
is, they're just looking around at the physical, like the world is falling apart. I'm like, yes, the old world is falling
Yeah,
apart,
it
but there
really
is a
is.
new one that is being
Mhm.
created, and so that those old system they have to dissolve.
Yes. Well, and so when I started, I say receive because I have no other words because I don't feel they're mine. When I receive the words in the middle of the night, so I've written 3,000 poems over the last 5 years, and I often don't remember them in the morning, and they use the most interesting language, like when
You
they
don't
first started to
remember
come.
them in the morning?
Mm-mm. No. And words like hearken or like things that I don't always use. But I'm thinking early on, and that was really a huge part of sort of after my stepfather died, that's what opened, and it just has guided me kind of over the last 5 years. But initially, I mean, it was all about this new thing that was coming, and it was all about sort of not being fearful, like recognizing the chaos of the moment. Like you're so right. And when you have all of these channelers and intuitives and insightful humans that are sort of all directing the same thing, you're like, there's something to this. There really is,
Right.
and it's super powerful.
If they're
Yeah,
all saying the same
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And it's good stuff, right? Because
yeah.
I don't like the doom and gloom timelines.
No, same.
I'm like, I'm not going to listen to that because I don't like it. It doesn't feel good to me. And I'm kind of
You
an
get to choose.
emotional snob. So, um, but do you feel like your poems are prophetic?
Sometimes.
Okay.
I
And
mean,
they,
I connect with I had a friend who took her life a couple of years ago, and I will wake up in her energy,
huh?
and then all the words come through about what she's feeling and what she's seeing. I will connect with people through those words, but I also just get them running through like a ticker tape in my mind, and I have to write them. But it's not an aware process. It's hard for me to explain, but they can be prophetic, like not in, I'm not sort of anticipating a disaster that's going to happen.
Right, right.
But I think it, it's sort of in helping us understand who and what we are, as a one entity.
Yeah.
It really pushes that that narrative over the last couple of years has been really significant because we're so separate. We've managed to, as you and I talked about at the beginning, hide behind this sort of mask of who we are that keeps us separate from each person.
Yeah.
And the what sort of the words have pushed is this just breaking that apart because I think the belief is that as we connect with each other, that's almost how the new world comes about, is through breaking the walls that exist between us. Yeah,
So
I
fascinating.
know. I know.
That's so gorgeous. Yeah, it's interesting how we see ourselves as separate. Again, according to these, the turning off of the strands of DNA,
I
it's like
love that. Yeah.
if we don't have all the faculties online, because we were basically an experimental race and we have traces of all these different extraterrestrial races,
Yeah.
which is the new information coming out
Yeah,
from
which makes
channel.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that we were basic, they talk about this like gap in our DNA. Well, we have the answers. We've gotten
Mhm.
them from channelers, we've got them from psychics and mediums.
Yeah.
They're kind of all saying the same thing, but then
Mhm.
we're getting these strands of DNA reconnecting in some people,
Mhm.
and they're having all these abilities, right?
Yeah.
Like you.
Mm.
And just imagine where you're going to be as you foster this, as you listen to those. Because the biggest thing I think for people is they see those things as like not real.
I know.
And so they don't practice them. But here you are practicing them
Yeah.
and allowing yourself
Mm.
to develop your intuition,
Yes.
which anyone can do, but you believe it's possible.
Yeah.
And
Well, and
so,
you said something that I loved that I would love for everyone, like, and I wish I could remember your exact words because you said something about choosing what you believed.
oh, yeah.
Like and that to me is the key to everything because we're so afraid of being wrong. We don't want to be looked upon as foolish. But like, so what? Like, let's believe what makes us feel good. Like that to me is everything
Oh,
because
the
that's what
timeline
stops
thing.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if we don't believe, if we don't let ourselves believe the things that would make us feel better. So even at words in the middle of the night, intuition, oh, that's not really a thought. That's just my head like lying to me. Like let's believe it is something special because it's going to carry us to where we need to go. But it's that belief. And so I love that because I don't hear a lot of people saying that. And I think
Oh, about like
that's the
choosing about
choosing to believe.
well, that's because of what I do.
Mm,
So, when I heal someone's trauma, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the pattern. Okay, here's the pattern. Let's define it. And then we follow it back to the seed. Everything we experience externally goes back to the seeds, all the seeds planted in
mm,
the subconscious mind in those first 5 years.
mm,
So when we pluck up the seed and look at it and say, oh, you've just been believing that you're not good enough. Do you want to keep this seed? Oh, you don't? Okay, gone. What should we replace it with?
mm.
And when you look at all your beliefs like that, like, oh, this identity that I have today is just a bunch of seeds planted in the ground early. So at any point in time, I can choose to pluck any of them up and replace them. When you think like that and you know how the human being is created, like I do, we'll just put in the ones you like.
Oh,
How about
wow.
that? Right?
That's
It's so
amazing.
simple, but we
Yeah.
don't know how we're created, how we generated these
Mm,
personalities. But because that is what I know, it is as simple as let's just identify the belief that we have that's
yeah.
creating that yucky feeling inside of you. Let's pluck it out and put one that feels good.
Okay, that's incredible. I mean, that's incredible. Think about how many lives can be changed with just that. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. And all it takes is like you is the willingness and openness. In fact, I won't
Mm,
work with anyone
yeah.
unless I know, see, and feel from them
Yeah.
that they're so open because
Yeah.
I know I can lead you to the water, but you're gonna have to drink it.
Yeah. Yes. Good
So,
for you. You probably learned that the hard way.
oh yes. Indeed. Indeed. Oh my gosh, this hour passed by so
Oh,
fast, Sarah.
thank you. This was amazing.
How
Thanks
did
for
it go by
sharing so
so
much with
fast?
me. I love it.
Oh yeah, it was so fun to get to
Same.
these conversations juice me up. I'm telling you, I'll be high all day off of
Yeah.
it.
As will I. Thank you for the gift. I'm so excited to continue to sort of watch the way that you move through the world because you're
Yeah.
doing some important stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah. Of
you.
course. No, it's true.
And
Yeah.
you let me know if there is anything that I could do for you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Because it
We're
sounds like you're in this place where you're merging these two worlds. And as I read your personality, you are so very balanced.
Thank you for that.
You are very, very balanced. I see you
Mm,
just like at this 0 point, and what you can offer there is, I think this mergence of saying it's not this side or this side. It's like,
yeah.
how about we come right there into the
Love
middle
it.
of it?
I love that for
So
all of
what's
us.
next for you?
I don't know. That's what I love. I just sort of I'm really in a space of just sort of allowing what comes in because that's always where the magic happens for me. So I don't know. I'll let you know when it comes.
I I'm just going to suggest, are you getting these poems in a book?
I do, yes.
Okay.
So I put them on Instagram because I didn't know what to do with all of it. I'm like, this isn't just for me. I'm like, these
Put
aren't
in a
mine.
book.
I have two books,
Okay.
small poetry collections. And if I feel called, I'll sort of do another one. They happened really quickly. One is Heart and Moon, one's Wise Stars. And yeah, I'm
Okay, good.
just, yeah,
And
thank you for
where
hearing
can
it.
people go to find those?
Thank you. So those two books are on Amazon. You can get them hard copy or Kindle. And then Instagram at Dear Joy Love is where I put my poetry, as well as Substack under Sara S. Byers, because I think that there's so much coming through right now. It has been a wild year so far. And so every week I put what I received the past week because there's just so much. Yeah.
Do you get poems for individual people? Like if you can you receive for
I can.
yeah.
I can. It's not something I do all the time. But I love working with people's energy. So when they allow me and invite me into it or ask me for a poem for I love it.
I
Because
mean, that could be a brilliant little side hustle. I mean, I don't know if you're interested in doing, but I think that people would just go crazy for that,
I
girl.
love that. Thank you, Tammy. Maybe that's my sign. Maybe you just brought me my next thing.
I think I totally did. I was just like, oh my gosh, like this. Yeah, and
Yeah.
especially if it was like, say someone lost someone
Oh my gosh, I know.
and they wanted a poem from
Oh,
them
it's
and
so
you tuned
beautiful.
in and you got that. It
Mm.
came through you because you're that strong antenna.
Oh, thank you for that.
I
That'd be
got
beautiful.
goosebumps everywhere, so
Yeah,
I
I
think
love
that
it.
might
Thank you for
be it.
that. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for this gift. Really
Yeah, well,
awesome
you're a
chatting with
gift.
you.
So
As are you.
thank you for being you and thank you for sharing who you are with the world.
Oh, thank you for that, Tammy. It's been awesome talking to you.
Yes, we'll have to do a round two, okay?